When Sarah announced her engagement, I screamed so loud the neighbors probably thought someone won the lottery. We'd been best friends since freshman year of college, sharing everything from late-night pizza to heartbreak stories. So when she asked me to be her maid of honor, I said yes before she even finished the sentence. I pictured us laughing over dress choices, sipping champagne at tastings, and making memories. But the first red flag waved just 2 days later. She texted asking which shade of blush pink looked better for invitations. I replied with my honest pick. She answered with a voice note. Wow, you clearly hate my taste. I stared at my phone, confused. Was she joking? She wasn't. That tiny moment should have warned me, but I brushed it off as pre-wedding nerves. After all, everyone says planning a wedding is stressful. I had no idea stress could turn a sweet girl into someone I didn't recognize. The next week, Sarah created a group chat called Sarah's Dream Team. Cute, right? Wrong. By day 3, it had dozens of unread messages, all from her. She sent photos of centerpieces and wrote, "Need opinions now." If we didn't reply within 10 minutes, she'd follow up with, "Hello, anyone care?" I started keeping my phone on silent, but guilt woke me up anyway. One day I missed a poll about napkin folds. The next morning she called crying. "I can't believe my own maid of honor ignores me," she sobbed. I apologized even though I'd been asleep. She forgave me, but only after I promised to check messages constantly. I laughed it off with my boyfriend later, saying, "Brides, am I right?" He didn't laugh. He just raised an eyebrow. I should have listened to that eyebrow. Then came the document. Sarah emailed it with the subject line, "Bridesmaid Bible, read immediately." I opened it expecting a fun schedule. Instead, I got 47 pages of rules. Page 1. All bridesmaids must weigh within 5 pounds of their current weight, or discuss options with Sarah. Page 5. Hair must be dyed to match her chosen shade of chestnut brown. No exceptions. Page 12. No one may announce engagements, pregnancies, new jobs, or haircuts without written permission. I read it twice, waiting for the "just kidding" at the end. There was none. When I asked if she was serious, she said, "Of course. This is my day." I printed the pages just to count them again. 47 felt like a typo. It wasn't. My stomach twisted, but I told myself she'd calm down once the big stuff was booked. The appointment started the following Saturday. Dress fitting, cake tasting, venue tour. I cleared my calendar like a good maid of honor. The dress shop smelled like lavender and panic. Sarah tried on 12 gowns, each more expensive than the last. Every time the consultant complimented her, Sarah asked, "But is it the most special?" By gown 8, the consultant looked ready to cry. We finally left with a dress that cost more than my first car. Then came the bridesmaid dresses. Sarah picked a shade called Dusty Mauve that made everyone look like wilted eggplants. The price tag? $400 each. When Emily politely asked about other colors, Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "You hate my vision," she whispered. We all bought the dresses in silence. My credit card wept harder than Sarah. Weekends became wedding boot camp. Every Saturday and Sunday belonged to Sarah. Florist, stationer, band audition. I missed my cousin's baby shower because Sarah needed me to hold fabric swatches against tablecloths. "Natural light is crucial," she explained. I stood in a parking lot while she decided between ivory and eggshell. When I had a work deadline and skipped one florist visit, my phone exploded. Dozens of texts, missed calls, one long voice memo. "I can't believe you choose work over me," she cried. I called back to explain, but she hung up when I said the word project. That night I stared at my ceiling, wondering how friendship turned into a full-time job I wasn't paid for. The jealousy started small. I'd been dating someone seriously and mentioned I thought an engagement might be coming. Sarah's face changed instantly. "You're trying to steal my thunder," she accused. She actually said I was forbidden from getting engaged until after her wedding. If I did, I'd be kicked out of the wedding party. I laughed, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. When I got a promotion I'd worked years for, Sarah barely said congratulations. Instead, she complained I'd be too busy to help with wedding planning. "This is about me right now," she said. I smiled through gritted teeth, reminding myself this was temporary. But the knot in my stomach grew bigger every day. The bridal shower was supposed to be fun. We decorated with balloons, set up a cute gift table, and everyone brought thoughtful presents. Sarah opened each one with a fake smile. "I guess this will do," she said about a beautiful frame. Not exactly what I registered for. She sighed over a kitchen gadget. When her future mother-in-law gave a heartfelt speech welcoming Sarah to the family, Sarah rolled her eyes. So fake, she whispered to me. They're trying to make this about them. I wanted to defend the sweet woman, but I stayed quiet. The other bridesmaids exchanged looks. We all felt the tension, but no one dared speak up. Sarah was the queen, and we were just her subjects. Planning the bachelorette party became my second job. I spent months researching, booking, and coordinating. I found a beautiful beach house, planned activities Sarah said she wanted, and made sure every detail was perfect. I paid for half of it myself because Sarah said the budget was tight. The other bridesmaids chipped in too. We arrived excited, ready for a fun weekend. Sarah complained from the moment we walked in. The house wasn't nice enough. The activities were boring. The food wasn't what she wanted. The decorations weren't Pinterest-worthy. She spent most of the time on her phone, barely talking to anyone. I tried to stay positive, but inside I was boiling. That night, Sarah posted on Instagram, "So disappointed my bridesmaids don't really know me," the caption read. She tagged the location and added crying emojis. The other girls saw it and started crying for real. One pulled me aside. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered. "She's awful." I wanted to defend Sarah, my best friend, the girl who used to split dessert with me and watch bad movies. But I couldn't, because the truth was, this wasn't wedding stress. This was who Sarah had become. Entitled, ungrateful, mean. And I was done pretending it was okay. On the drive home, another bridesmaid quit. "I'm out," she said. "This isn't worth my sanity." I nodded, but inside I was panicking. If I quit, would I lose my best friend forever? We'd known each other for over a decade. We'd been through breakups, family drama, job losses. Was I really going to throw that away over a wedding? But then I thought about the money I'd spent, the weekends I'd lost, the way Sarah treated everyone like servants. I thought about how she made me feel small and guilty just for having a life. That night I made my decision. I couldn't keep sacrificing myself for someone who didn't care about me. I scheduled coffee with Sarah to tell her I was stepping down. I practiced my speech 100 times. I wanted to be kind but firm. I wanted to say I'd still support her as a friend, just not in the wedding party. But before I could finish my first sentence, Sarah started complaining about another bridesmaid who posted a photo without permission. When I finally said I needed to step down, her face went from confused to furious. "Are you serious?" she yelled. "This will ruin everything." She didn't ask why. She didn't care if I was okay. She only cared about her perfect pictures and even numbers. The argument exploded fast. Sarah said I was selfish, jealous, and a terrible friend. I tried to stay calm, but years of frustration poured out. "You treat us like employees," I said. "You're never happy. You banned us from living our lives. You made everything about you." Sarah denied it all. She said I was making things up. She said I'd always been competitive. Then she picked up her coffee and threw it at me. Hot liquid soaked my shirt. People in the cafe stared. Sarah called me a name I won't repeat and stormed out. I sat there dripping and shaking, realizing our friendship was over. The fallout was brutal. Sarah posted vague messages online about fake friends and betrayal. She told everyone I quit for no reason, just to hurt her. Some friends believed her. Others messaged me privately, saying they'd seen how she acted. 2 more bridesmaids quit after me. Sarah's mom called crying, begging me to come back. "She's just stressed," she said. When I said no, even her mom turned cold. "You're being cruel," she told me. I hung up feeling like the villain, even though I knew I wasn't. I just wanted my life back. The wedding happened without me. Friends who went said it was beautiful, but Sarah complained the whole day. The flowers were wrong. The music was too loud. The photos would need editing. She barely smiled. One bridesmaid who stayed sent me a message. "You were smart to leave. She's miserable even on her wedding day." I felt a mix of relief and sadness. I missed the old Sarah, the one who laughed at stupid jokes and brought me soup when I was sick. But that Sarah was gone, replaced by someone who only cared about being the center of attention. 6 months later, Sarah's marriage was already struggling. Her husband looked exhausted. Sarah still wanted everything perfect, and got angry when it wasn't. She sent me a message saying sorry, but it wasn't real. "Wedding stress made me crazy," she wrote. "Can we move past it?" We met for coffee. She spent the whole time talking about her new house and how the curtains weren't right. She never asked about my life. I realized the wedding didn't change her. It just showed who she really was. I said goodbye politely and walked away. Walking away hurt. I cried for days. I missed the memories, the inside jokes, the years of friendship. But I also felt free. I got my weekends back. I wore my hair however I wanted. I celebrated my promotion with people who were actually happy for me. I learned that real friends don't make you shrink to fit their vision. They lift you up. They don't throw coffee or demand you pause your life. Sarah taught me that some friendships have an expiration date, and that's okay. Now when I hear about Bridezillas, I don't laugh. I understand how a wedding can bring out the worst in someone. But I also know you don't have to stay and take it. You can choose yourself. You can set boundaries. You can walk away from toxic people, even if you've known them forever. Losing Sarah was painful, but staying would have been worse. I kept my dignity, my money, and my peace of mind. And that's worth more than any maid of honor title. Looking back, I see all the signs I ignored. The late-night demands. The crazy rules. The jealousy. I thought love meant putting up with anything. But love shouldn't cost your happiness. Sarah wanted a perfect wedding. I wanted a real friend. In the end, we both got what we focused on. She got her day, and I got my freedom. I hope one day she learns to be happy without controlling everyone. But that's not my job anymore. I still have the dusty mauve dress in my closet. I should donate it, but I keep it as a reminder. A reminder to speak up sooner, to value myself, to never let anyone treat me like a prop in their story. Sarah's wedding is a memory now, but the lessons stay with me. I'm stronger because I left. I'm kinder to myself. And I'll never ignore raised eyebrows again. Sometimes people show you who they are and you have to believe them. Sarah showed me entitlement and control. I showed her boundaries and self-respect. The friendship ended, but I didn't. I grew. I learned, and I moved on. That's the real happy ending. Not a perfect wedding, but a life where I come first. Years from now, I'll tell this story and laugh. Not because it was funny, but because I survived it. I survived the Bridezilla, the drama, the coffee shower. I kept my heart intact. Sarah might still be chasing perfection, but I found something better, peace. And no amount of tool or centerpieces can buy that. To anyone stuck in a toxic friendship, especially a wedding one, you are not the villain for choosing yourself. You are not selfish for setting limits. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to walk away. Your worth isn't measured by how much you sacrifice for someone else's big day. It's measured by how you treat yourself when no one's watching. I used to think being a good friend meant saying yes to everything. Now I know it means saying yes to respect, kindness, and balance. Sarah taught me that the hard way. I'm grateful for the lesson, even if it came with a side of scalding latte. I wouldn't trade the growth for anything. The beach house photos are still on my phone. I look at them sometimes and smile. Not at Sarah's complaints, but at the moment I decided enough was enough. That was the day I chose me. And I've never regretted it. Friendship should feel like home, not a battlefield. Sarah's wedding was a war zone of demands and drama. I'm glad I left before I lost myself completely. I kept my sanity, my savings, and my sense of humor. Sarah kept her perfect photos. We both won in a way. I hope Sarah finds happiness one day. Real happiness, not the kind that needs control and complaints to exist. I hope she learns to celebrate others without feeling threatened. But I don't wait for that anymore. I live my life, full and free. The other bridesmaids and I still talk. We laugh about the 47-page rulebook and the wilted eggplant dresses. We call ourselves the survivors. We made a pact, never again. No more bridezillas. No more guilt trips. Just real friendship, the kind that doesn't come with a price tag. I got engaged a year later. My fiancé planned a small, simple wedding. No rules, no bands. Just love. My bridesmaids wore whatever made them happy. We laughed, we danced, we ate cake without judgment. It was perfect, not because everything matched, but because everyone felt valued. Sarah wasn't invited. Some bridges need to stay burned. But I don't hate her. I pity her. She's still chasing an image while I found the real thing. Love, freedom, self-respect. Those are the real treasures. And no wedding stress can take them away. The end of that friendship was a beginning for me. I learned to trust my gut, speak my truth, and walk away from what hurts me. Sarah's wedding was her story. My exit was mine. And I wrote a better ending than she ever could. I sat down at the little corner cafe with my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. I had rehearsed my speech 100 times in the mirror, making sure every word sounded kind but firm. I wanted Sarah to know I still cared about her as a friend, but I could no longer be part of the wedding chaos that was eating me alive. The moment she walked in, I smiled and waved, hoping we could keep things calm and mature. But before I could even say hello properly, Sarah launched into a rant about another bridesmaid who had posted a selfie on Instagram without getting her approval first. Her voice got louder with every sentence, and I just sat there nodding, waiting for my turn to speak. Finally, I took a deep breath and started, "Sarah, I need to talk to you about something important." She stopped mid-sentence, looked at me with wide eyes, and I continued, "I'm stepping down as maid of honor." The words hung in the air like a heavy cloud, and I braced myself for whatever came next. Sarah's face changed in an instant from confused to completely furious, and it was like watching a storm roll in out of nowhere. Her eyes narrowed, her cheeks turned red, and she slammed her hand on the table so hard that our coffee cups rattled. "Are you serious right now?" she shouted, loud enough that people at the next table turned to stare. "This is the most selfish thing anyone has ever done to me." I tried to stay calm and explain that I needed to protect my own peace, but she didn't let me finish. She kept going on about how my decision would ruin her perfect wedding photos, how the bridal party would look uneven, and how she would have to scramble to find a replacement so close to the big day. It was clear she didn't care about my feelings at all. Everything was about her and her vision, just like it had been for months. I gently tried to bring up the ways her behavior had hurt me and the other bridesmaids, pointing out the constant demands and the jealousy that made everyone walk on eggshells. But Sarah shut me down fast, twisting every story to make herself the victim. She said I was exaggerating, that I had always been too sensitive, and that I was just jealous because she was the one getting married first. The more I spoke, the angrier she got, and soon we were in a full-blown argument right there in the middle of the cafe. Years of friendship started unraveling like a cheap sweater, thread by thread. She accused me of being competitive, of never supporting her dreams, and of abandoning her when she needed me most. I couldn't hold back anymore. All the frustration I had bottled up came pouring out in a rush. "You've become impossible to please," I told her, my voice shaking but steady. "You treat us like workers instead of friends, and your jealousy has pushed everyone away." I reminded her of the late-night texts, the ridiculous rules, and how she made us feel guilty for having lives outside her wedding. Sarah's eyes filled with tears, but they weren't tears of regret. They were tears of rage. She screamed that I was lying, that I had always wanted to steal the spotlight, and that I was the worst friend she had ever had. The words stung like salt in a fresh cut, but I stood my ground. For the first time in months, I felt strong instead of small. Then, without warning, Sarah grabbed her coffee cup and threw the hot liquid right at me. It splashed across my shirt, burning my skin and soaking through to my chest. I sat there frozen, dripping and stunned, as Sarah called me a horrible name under her breath and stormed out of the cafe, leaving the door swinging behind her. People around us whispered and stared, but I barely noticed. My mind was racing, replaying the moment our friendship shattered into a million pieces. I paid the bill with shaking hands, walked home in my wet clothes, and cried in the shower until the water ran cold. That night, I kept thinking about the girl Sarah used to be, the one who shared secrets and laughed until her stomach hurt. Where had she gone? Had the wedding really changed her that much, or had this side of her always been hiding underneath? The fallout started before I even got home. My phone buzzed nonstop with notifications from social media. Sarah had posted vague messages about fake friends and betrayal at the worst possible time, complete with crying emojis and broken heart symbols. She didn't name me directly, but everyone in our circle knew exactly who she meant. Mutual friends started texting me, some asking what happened, others taking her side without hearing my story. Sarah had already spread her version of events, claiming I quit out of nowhere just to hurt her and make her scramble for a new maid of honor. It felt like a punch in the gut, watching lies spread faster than the truth ever could. Some friends believed Sarah completely and unfollowed me without a word. Others reached out privately, saying they had noticed how demanding she had become and that they didn't blame me for walking away. It was comforting to know I wasn't completely alone, but it still hurt to see our friend group split down the middle like a cracked sidewalk. 2 more bridesmaids quit the wedding party the next day, texting me that they couldn't handle Sarah's increasingly crazy demands anymore. They said her behavior had gotten even worse after I left, with daily meltdowns over tiny details like the shade of ribbon on the favors. The ones who stayed did it out of fear or obligation, afraid of the drama that would come if they backed out too. Sarah's mom called me in tears, begging me to change my mind and come back for Sarah's sake. "She's just so stressed," she sobbed, as if stress excused everything. I explained calmly that I needed to protect my own mental health, but she didn't want to hear it. When I stood my ground, her tone turned icy cold. "You're being selfish and cruel," she said, echoing Sarah's exact words. "How could you abandon your best friend like this?" I hung up feeling like the worst person in the world, even though deep down I knew I had done the right thing. Guilt wrapped around me like a heavy blanket, making it hard to breathe some days. The wedding day arrived without me there to see it. Friends who attended sent photos and updates, describing a beautiful ceremony with flowers everywhere and a stunning venue. But they also said Sarah spent the whole day complaining, fixating on the empty spots where the missing bridesmaids should have stood. She barely smiled during the vows and kept checking her phone instead of enjoying the moment. One friend told me Sarah even cried in the bathroom because the photographer caught her from a bad angle. It sounded exhausting, and I felt a strange mix of relief and sadness knowing I wasn't part of that chaos anymore. For weeks after the wedding, I second-guessed myself constantly. Should I have just stuck it out a little longer? Was I too harsh? Did I destroy a decade-long friendship over something that would eventually pass? The guilt gnawed at me, keeping me up at night. But then I got a message from one of the bridesmaids who had stayed until the end. "You were smart to get out," she wrote. The wedding looked perfect, but Sarah was a nightmare the entire time. She's already complaining about the photos and how people danced wrong at the reception. I don't think she knows how to be happy. Reading that felt like a weight lifting off my shoulders. I wasn't the crazy one after all. About 6 months later, word started spreading that Sarah's marriage was already struggling. Her husband looked worn out from her constant need for everything to be flawless. Friends said he was tired of walking on eggshells, just like we all had been. Sarah reached out to me with a short message, saying she was sorry for how things ended. "Wedding stress made me act crazy," she wrote, as if that explained everything away. Curious if my old friend was still in there somewhere, I agreed to meet her for coffee, hoping for a real apology and maybe a chance to rebuild something. We sat down in the same cafe where everything had exploded, and I waited for Sarah to take responsibility. But the conversation quickly turned into her complaining about her new apartment, the curtains that didn't match, and how her husband never folded towels the right way. She barely asked about my life, my job, or anything that mattered to me. It became clear she hadn't changed at all. The wedding had just been an excuse to let her controlling side run wild. I realized the monster wasn't created by bridal magazines. It had always been part of her, waiting for the perfect stage to show itself. Saying goodbye that day was easier than I expected. I didn't feel angry anymore, just sad for the friendship that used to be real and warm. Losing Sarah hurt like losing a piece of my past, but staying would have meant losing myself completely. I learned that being a good friend doesn't mean saying yes to everything or shrinking to fit someone else's ego. It means setting boundaries, speaking up when you're hurt, and choosing your own peace over endless sacrifice. Sarah wanted a perfect wedding. I wanted respect, and I finally chose me. Grieving the end of that friendship took time. I cried over old photos, remembered inside jokes, and missed the girl who used to split dessert with me after a bad day. But with every tear, I felt stronger. I got my weekends back, my savings account started recovering, and I stopped jumping every time my phone buzzed. I celebrated my own milestones without guilt, like my promotion and my relationship, surrounded by people who were genuinely happy for me. The hole Sarah left slowly filled with self-respect and freedom. Now I look back and see the coffee incident as a turning point, not a tragedy. That hot splash was the wake-up call I needed to stop enabling bad behavior. Some friendships aren't meant to last forever, especially when one person demands you pause your life to orbit theirs. Walking away wasn't selfish. It was survival. Sarah taught me that lesson the hard way, and I'm grateful for it. Even if it came with a side of public humiliation and a ruined shirt. To anyone stuck in a Bridezilla nightmare, know this. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Your time, your money, your mental health, they matter just as much as any wedding day. Real friends lift you up, not tear you down with rules and jealousy. If someone shows you they only value you as a prop in their story, it's okay to close the book and start writing your own chapter. I still have that dusty mauve dress hanging in my closet like a ghost of the past. One day I'll donate it, but for now it reminds me how far I've come. I speak up sooner now, trust my gut, and never ignore the warning signs. Sarah's wedding is a faded memory, but the strength I gained from leaving is part of me forever. I chose peace over perfection, and I've never looked back. Sometimes people reveal their true colors under pressure, and Sarah's colors were entitlement and control. I revealed mine too, resilience and self-worth. The friendship ended in a cafe with flying coffee, but my story kept going. I grew, I healed, and I learned that saying no can be the kindest thing you do for yourself. Years from now, I'll tell this story and laugh, not because the drama was funny, but because I survived it with my dignity intact. Sarah might still be chasing an impossible image of perfection, but I found something real, a life where I come first, surrounded by love that doesn't demand sacrifice. That's the real happy ending. Friendship should feel like a safe harbor, not a battlefield of demands. Sarah's wedding was a war zone, and I'm proud I walked away before I lost myself in the fight. I kept my heart, my humor, and my freedom. Sarah kept her photos. We both got what we fought for. I hope Sarah finds real joy someday, the kind that doesn't need control to exist. I hope she learns to celebrate others without feeling threatened. But that's her journey now, not mine. I live fully, love deeply, and never apologize for choosing myself. The bridesmaids who quit with me became my new tribe. We laugh about the 47-page rulebook and the wilted eggplant dresses over wine and real talk. We call ourselves the survivors. And we made a promise, no more guilt trips, no more bridezillas. Just honest friendship that lifts everyone up. I got engaged later, and my wedding was small, simple, and full of joy. No bands, no rules, no jealousy. My bridesmaids wore what made them happy, and we danced without judgment. It was perfect because everyone felt valued, not because everything matched. Sarah wasn't invited, and that's okay. Some bridges need to stay burned to keep the smoke from choking you. I don't hate her. I understand her now. She's trapped in a cycle of needing control to feel safe. I broke free, and that freedom tastes sweeter than any wedding cake. The end of that friendship was my beginning. I trust myself more, love myself better, and surround myself with people who do the same. Sarah's drama taught me boundaries are beautiful, and walking away can be the bravest love of all. I kept the lessons, lost the drama, and gained a life I love. That's worth more than any maid of honor speech or perfectly matched bouquet. I chose me, and I've never been happier.